Alright guys, during these last 2.5 weeks, it's time for consistent cardio. I put this right there. Consistent cardio in the morning, losing the last amount of fats, consistent low days mixed with very high days to keep the metabolism going up and prevent from losing fullness, and from being consistent with your food. For example, always taking in asparagus, celery, high fiber foods, enough protein for the protein muscle synthesis and the thermogenic effect of food, just to keep your metabolism up, to keep your digestive tract intact and have everything working. And of course, for example, the details, guys, like taking a fat burner before cardio, like I did today, a fat releaser, 2 before cardio and 1 after cardio. Just those tiny details will give a big result in the end. And of course, practicing the posing routine every single day along with the mandatory poses will allow you to burn more fat and be more fluent on the stage, guys. That is what it's all about. So on stage, I think I will weigh around 2.5 kilograms heavier than in March on the pro show, which is still going to be below my allowed weight. So because I was allowed to weigh around 4 kilograms heavier compared to an amateur weight, because I'm a pro now, and as a pro classic physique competitor, you're allowed to weigh more on stage, but it's very difficult to gain 4 kilograms of pure muscle mass within a few months. So if I do my best at the Chicago Pro and win the show, I will qualify for the Olympia, and then I might gain another kilogram of body weight, kilogram of muscle weight. And you will clearly see the difference already in Chicago, but then you will definitely see the difference at the Olympia, which I'm very excited for if everything just goes right. And the thing I also used to do before is I did cardio pretty much every single day for an hour in the morning. And what that did is it decreased the volume in my legs. It did give me an incredible definition, but we had to do that to cut weight for the division, because I wasn't able to cut weight fast enough. Now I'm doing cardio 4 times a week for about 40 minutes in the morning, and that's a big difference, because that'll keep more volume in the legs, and because you already are at a good conditioning level and we are at a more voluminous level, you will definitely see the difference on stage. So I'm very excited to show the package that I have on the stage, the new poses, the new pose routine. And yeah, that's what makes this cardio all worth it. And today is the next day. You just saw the chest day, and today will be a high day. So yeah, that's gonna be awesome. Alright guys, this is my second meal of the day. It's a high day today. 120 grams of uncooked rice is right there. 200 grams of broccoli, 100 grams of celery, 1 small bell pepper, and some seacrest, and 350 grams of codfish cooking away. Right, so this is the end result. 350 grams of beautifully cooked codfish, 120 grams of basmati rice uncooked, and there's a bell pepper in there, as you can see, some celery, some broccoli. I did 10 grams of coconut oil. In here, some turmeric, black pepper, some salt, some garlic spices, and this is an amazing second meal of the day. Around 100 grams of carbs. First meal was 120 grams of carbs in the form of oatmeal. So let's enjoy this. Right, it is time for the third meal of the day, which is my pre-workout meal, and we will be training legs. And as I mentioned, it's a high day, so that's perfect to combine with a hardcore leg workout, which you will see. So let's check out the meal that I have right now. As you can see, we again went for the codfish, about 350 grams cooked codfish and a little bit of soy sauce. We've got 120 grams of basmati rice uncooked, mixed up with 200 grams of broccoli rice. So you can barely see that it's broccoli rice right there, but it just looks like one big bowl of beautiful rice, spiced with turmeric, giving it that nice yellow color. And it also has again some celery, which I really love as a vegetable. Really good for water retention to prevent that, and it's just healthy overall. And some bell pepper, some different colors. The more colors you can get on your plate, the better it is for your health. Anyway, time to enjoy. And then it is time for the workout. As I mentioned before, it is a leg training. And I usually like to start out with the hamstrings and isolation movement to already get the blood flowing in the part of the leg that you want to develop most. So first, we start out with the lying leg curl. And this is one of the best exercises to really fill out those hamstrings. The hamstrings are basically my biggest weak point of my entire physique, so I've been focusing on that quite a lot for my Chicago Pro contest, and the difference is definitely visible, so I really am curious to see how it will look on stage. But there's, I still have some room to improve, quite a lot of room to improve, but the improvements have been made. So bodybuilding simply takes patience. No matter how hard and consistent you work, it never goes fast enough. So you simply gotta stay at it, you gotta keep at it, you gotta work at it, and eventually you will achieve what you had in mind. So that's why almost every single leg workout I focused mostly on the hamstrings. And what you see right here is that the full range of motion is very important. You want to fully contract the hamstrings and fully stretch it. If you're not able to fully contract the hamstrings anymore on the lying leg curl, it simply is too heavy. And this is one of the heavier sets of this exercise. You can see that my glutes are starting to help the hamstrings just a little bit. So in order for me to still engage my hamstrings to the maximum, I like to go down on the negative slower, causing more blood to rush into the hamstrings. And before moving on to the compound exercises, I like to warm up the knees as well. So simply I want to warm up the entire legs before starting a compound exercise. And I did that by doing the lying hamstring curls to fill out the back of the legs, and now we're filling out the front of the legs with a leg extension. Now for people who have knee issues or joint problems, this exercise is one to avoid if you feel any pain in the knees. But if you don't feel any pain, you should still warm up with a lot of lighter sets, of course, to make sure that the blood is in there before going too heavy. But then this exercise is very excellent for developing those striations in the legs. And what you want to do is really contract as hard as possible at the top, really get those lines to show in the legs, because you can see the lines in my legs only really show when I fully contract it at the top. So if I wasn't going to do that, the development would not be there. So as I mentioned, we were about to do a compound movement after warming up the legs, and this is the first compound movement. A compound movement means using multiple joints to work your muscles. And right now we're doing the hack squat. And the hack squat is one of the best exercises you can do. In my opinion, it is ranked number 2, right behind the regular back squats. Kind of at the same ranking as a front squat, but I like the hack squats a little more because it allows you to focus purely on the quads, purely on the legs, and not as much on balancing the bar or feeling the bar on your chest or stuff like that. I really do love the front squats. It does provide a different kind of sensation, hits the quads from a slightly different angle, but I really love the hack squats just a little more because, as you can see, I can go quite deep with this and really hit not only the quads but also the hamstrings and the glutes optimally. And right there you can see that I'm wearing a belt. So by the way, this belt I am having available on vintagegenetics.com. They were sold out for a while, and probably next week they will be available again in multiple sizes. And of course what I'm wearing right there, the shorts, the classic bodybuilding shorts, the shoes, and the vintage t-shirt are all available on vintagegenetics.com. But anyway, I'm wearing the belt really to protect the lower back and to really increase the tension in the core to make it easier to move a heavier weight so that I can overload the muscles of the legs even more. It kind of makes your entire core, your entire body more rigid, allowing you to go heavier without having to focus on keeping your core tight yourself, because it happens mostly automatically if you contract your abs. Because of the belt, the contraction is a lot stronger and allows your core to contract even harder against the belt. And this also protects your lower back, because it really, if you go too heavy, if you go too low, it might be dangerous for your lower back when you're a tall guy. So that's why I love to use a belt whenever I am going too heavy. But as you can see, the second compound exercise of the day, the back squats, starting out light by the way, because I'm pretty much fatigued after those hack squats. So then another 2 sets after that one to failure, and a drop set as well. But the first few sets that are lighter, always keep the belt off of your body, because you cannot rely on the belt, but you can use it as a tool to further enhance your muscle building properties. So with the back squats, I always keep my legs quite far apart. I cannot even put them close together, because my back would simply roll forward, my knees would buckle inwards, and that's not supposed to happen. So it's kind of almost like a sumo squat, but at the same time it really helps build those inner thighs up well, which is what I need to develop as well. So the hamstrings and inner thighs is basically the weak point of my physique, but this workout right here works on both of those problem areas. And then you can see, after having done 2 sets, I'm doing it again wearing the belt, protecting the lower back. And especially with the back squat, where you're not protected by any machine, you're simply doing the movement yourself, wearing a belt is simply very useful. Especially since I used to have an injury in my lower back, the very bottom vertebrae of my spine, where it attaches to the pelvis. I used to have an injury right there because I did go too heavy on the squats without a belt. I dropped down too low, too fast, and it kind of shocked that part of the spine. So I always want to prevent that. No need to take risks, especially when training for a bodybuilding competition. I cannot afford to have any injuries at all. However, this was 5 or 6 years ago, but still, I don't want to take any risks. And with the back squat, you always got to go full range of motion, so at least a little lower than 90 degrees to also not only hit the quads, but also the glutes and the hamstrings. And then it is time for some calf raises. So I could be doing the calves with 2 legs, but I chose to do 1 leg at a time to really focus on each calf individually and to show you how to build those calves, because a lot of people ask me what is the best way to train your calves, how to get them big. So here I'm showing you that the full range of motion is very important. A lot of people stop halfway when going down, they don't stretch the calf muscle at all, and they stop when going upwards. They don't contract the calf muscle hard enough. And you can see in the motion of the muscle that both instances I'm stretching and contracting properly. And that is what you want to do with every single muscle, so don't neglect the calves either. And also, the time under tension should be there. It's a very short motion, so you don't want to go too fast. I see a lot of people moving up and down really fast. What I like to do is do it in a controlled, slow motion, keeping the tension on the calf at all time, not releasing the tension at all, as you can see, and also going quite heavy, because remember, I'm only doing this with 1 calf, so the amount of weight I'm doing right now feels pretty heavy. And what you want to feel when going all the way up is really that peak contraction. If you have a good mind-muscle connection, you know what I'm talking about. For example, when training biceps, you can really feel a different kind of contraction if you really feel that peak during certain exercises. And the same thing you should feel in the calf muscles. If you don't feel that, you should take a look at your feet placement, your foot placement, or the range of motion you are applying. And now it is time for the post-workout meal. Look at those beautiful tuna steaks. In total, it's about 250 grams, which accounts for 55 grams of protein. We've got 200 grams of broccoli right here, cooking very slowly to keep the nutrients in there. In there is my potatoes, 600 grams, for around 100 grams of carbs in this next post-workout meal. Look at this beautiful finished meal. The plate is almost too small. You can see two big potatoes right there. We've got different potatoes right there, baked potatoes, and also some cooked potatoes. So 3 different kinds of potatoes, only around 10 grams of fat in this entire meal, 200 grams of nicely green, slowly cooked broccoli, and 250 grams of beautiful tuna. So about 100 grams of carbs, about 60 grams of protein, and about 10 grams of fat for a post-workout meal after leg day. Let's enjoy. Alright guys, I want to thank you for watching, and don't forget to stay golden.